Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, welcome to our family service for today. Nice to have everyone here. As you know, we're doing these YouTube services, and we also have a live in-house audience here. So today we have Dharma School, so many of our Dharma School students and their parents are here with us, and standing room only all along the sides of the walls, and many people are here today. So nice to have everyone here and there. So welcome to the service, everyone from the Alameda Temple and the Enmanji Buddhist Temple as well. So I'd like to go over the service order for today. We're going to have the reading of the Shishin Dai, and we did this last week. Some of you were not here, but we weren't that good at it last week, so we're going to do this again. And so the Shishin Dai is on page 28, okay? 28, 29. And just to review, usually we do the Sambujo, but the Shishin Dai, first line, Sensei does, and then you come in on the second line, Namo Sho Uchi Fu. Okay, and so as you do the second line, you'll notice that every second line is the same except the last syllable. Okay, can you see that? The last syllable in the first line is fu. On the second line is ho. On the third line is so. So these mean the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. Okay? Fu, ho, so. So these are the three treasures. So in chanting form, we're doing the same three treasures that we read in English or Japanese sometimes at our services. Okay? So you can see that on page 28 in English and 29 in the Japanese. So from there, we're going to do the Junirai on page 67. So Junirai is also one of our two well-used chants. We do often the Juseiga and the Junirai. And so much as possible, try to follow along and to do some chanting as well. Okay? So Nembutsu and Ekoku will complete the chanting portion of our service, and then I'll come back for our Dharma message. Okay? So hopefully, through explanation, I've given you enough time to find your service book if you're at home, and to find the chants in time so you don't have to scramble as I'm chanting. All right? So with that, we will begin. Shishin Dai, Junirai. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Amanda, Amanda. Hey.
天人職業阿弥陀千両族尊在秘名名安楽無料物資主意名本時期心情女性のあまた行女族両目上略少年へ子が将来見出そう年々年上女 往生菩提希望大子が将来皆尊が説意尊苦の不慈修善無縁了解水小逆前後小乗者平成宗上昇以
Good morning again, everyone. Chanting sounded very nice today. I could hear people behind me. Sometimes I can't. Was my mic cutting out here and there? Seemed like it, huh? Yeah. So hopefully this one will carry my voice okay today. Today I had a haiku poem that I wanted to share with you, and this one is written by Basho, a very famous haiku poet. And so we are happy to share reading a poem of his today. And so Basho lived in the 1600s, 1644 to 1694. And so quite a while ago that he lived in Japan, and he kind of shared his poetry and experiencing the unity of the world, the natural world and human life, both coexisting and describing these scenes. And so the poem I have today, listen carefully, short poem. Such stillness, the cry of cicadas sinks into the rocks. Okay, I'm going to read it again. Such stillness, the cry of cicadas sinks into the rocks. So as he wrote his poems, he's kind of writing, showing the interdependence of all things, the interdependence of life, things we come across, natural life, the bugs, insect life, animal life, and the natural setting, birds, trees, ponds, whatever they might be, and our interaction with all these things that we might find as we come into walking. Like he is known for going on this long journeys, hiking, and along the way he would stop and write poetry along the way, and he would have this collection of poems along his way. Okay. So do we know what cicadas are? Yeah, we know what cicadas are. Okay, so they make this sound when they come into the trees, and so you can envision the cicadas in the trees active, and maybe hundreds or even thousands of them breaking the silence. And usually they are very noisy on these warm summer days. Okay, and so the sound of the cicadas, how do they make that sound? Do you know? I'm not sure. Maybe they rub their wings together or something like that. But they start real slowly, and they kind of gradually, kind of a shrill sound, and it picks up its pace and its speed, and then they release this pressure, and this spray comes out from the trees as the cicadas shoot out the spray from their bodies. And so I remember my father, when I was young, telling me about the cicadas in Japan, and I didn't know about cicadas at the time, and he would imitate these cicadas, you know, and I would watch him, wee, 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 and he'd make this face, you know, like, yeah. And so he's showing me how they make this sound, and it builds and builds and builds, and then they release, and the spray comes floating down from the trees, and it's sticky like sap, right? And so because he's making this face, I'm making this face, you know, and so I remember that. Then later on I go to Japan and walking along, and I hear the cicadas, and I know what it is because my dad told me, right? And so sure enough, I'm walking under there, and I get sprayed, and this sticky stuff is on me, you know, and then automatically that same face comes back, yeah, right? And so as I read this poem, I can remember the sound of the cicadas as I was visiting Japan, and my father's stories and his face, and then my face becomes like a mirror of his face. And even as I'm telling this story, I can see your faces going, yeah, right? So same kind of reaction. And so when I was actually there, warm, hot summer day, and in Japan, it gets hot early, and you could come out at 6 in the morning and be sweating, and so it's sticky already. Your t-shirt is sopping wet from sweat, and then you take a walk and you come under the cicadas. They make this noise and spray their stuff all over you, you know. So I'm envisioning this experience as being in Japan, already sweaty. They don't even, I mean, they warn you, but still you get sprayed, and you're coming into this sticky spray, kind of like that tree in front of the temple, you know, leaving their sap on every time you park there in the first space. But yeah, kind of like that. So I'm thinking about the memory, and I'm thinking about cicadas, I'm thinking about Buddhist teachings, thinking about Basho and writing, what was he trying to convey? And, you know, I'm thinking the person, maybe Basho, maybe you, maybe me, hiking through this very stifling hot summer day, and the sound coming from the trees, and you notice them. There's not just one, hundreds of them sitting up in the trees, you know, and then the spray coming down, and each of these things kind of describing this singular moment that he's describing in his poem. And so Basho had some Zen training. He had studied Zen Buddhism, and maybe all these elements, the day himself, the cry of the cicadas, the heat, and the rock, all of these things are unified into this one moment of time. And this is what his poem conveys, okay? So then I was thinking about in Shin Buddhism, it might be different, and in, I remember Unno Sensei, Taitetsu Unno, had written about this same poem, and in our Shin Buddhist perspective, maybe the cry of the cicadas making that sound is the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, coming from, not from my mouth, but from the natural world, coming towards us, the Nembutsu coming this way from Amida, okay? And all this natural setting of life, but the rock is so impenetrable, huh? But in the poem, it says the cry of the cicadas sinking into the rocks. So the rock is human life, our own mind, our own ego-centeredness. We don't allow anything to come in. We don't want to hear the Nembutsu. We don't want to listen. We don't want to learn the teachings of the Buddha. But still, the compassion of the Buddha, the cry of Namo Amida Butsu still comes to us. When we are ready, then we come to hear it. And little bit by little bit, penetrating this solid rock surface that we have as human beings. So Zen perspective and Shin perspective might be a little bit different. So in Shin Buddhism, we have this other formula where the Nembutsu comes towards us, and it's not that we say it, but that it comes in this way and awakens us, okay? And I'm not well-versed in Zen Buddhism, but sometimes you have this image of Zen Buddhists sitting in quiet meditation, or maybe wrestling with a koan, Zen koan, and maybe in meditation the master comes and pow, hits you on the shoulder with his stick, and kind of awakening you into a different perspective, not your self-centered perspective, awakening you to a different perspective of life, where all these different elements become included in this oneness. And so this is, in a sense, Zen Buddhist awakening, Zazen, right? And in Shin Buddhist awakening, the awakening is not in our practice, but coming from Amida, coming towards us. So kind of a different approach, but and we read these types of poems, and what was Basho trying to convey. And maybe we could see kind of similarities, but kind of some differences from his perspective, his Zen Buddhist perspective, and how we might view, think about these kind of poems, and think about our own self-centered shell that we hide behind sometimes, unknowingly, unwittingly we put up this barrier, and it's very comfortable because we're familiar with it, comfortable with it. But something happens in our life, something usually drastic, that causes us to awaken, to look beyond this self-centeredness. And that's when we truly hear Namo Amida Butsu coming to us. So please join me in Basho, and I'll read this poem one more time. Such stillness, the cry of cicadas sinks into the rocks. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. So thank you for letting me share these thoughts with you. Every moment could be a haiku poem or a moment of awakening. So everyday settings, we hold these deepest truths beyond time and space, beyond self and other. All these things merge into this oneness of the world around us, and then we become able to see and take part in this. So thank you for joining us for this service today. I would like to thank everyone involved in setting up, helping with the service, people behind the scenes and on different days have helped to prepare the flowers that adorn the onaiji, fruits, obokban, rice offerings. All these things are put up for our services in advance. I'd like to thank people who came here and people who are home observing, participating, all the Dharma School students here. Today we have kind of a special offering. This week we had a lesson in how to make manju. And so some of our BWA members and friends had a special tutorial to learn how to make kuri manju. And so we have a special offering showing off what we have come to learn here. So you see a little offering of kuri manju here on the Mayajoku, the main table. If you look real closely, they kind of look kind of hachi-kochi, not so perfectly uniform in size and shape. But for our first time, I think we did very well, and with practice we will improve and improve. So thank you for very thoughtful to sneak that into the fruit bin that I could offer it today and show everyone, share it with everyone else. So we'll do the Basho one last time, and then I'll come down to make sure the incense is burning, and then we could come and offer incense, okay? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Who wants to start? You want to start? Okay. Make a show everyone how we remember how to offer incense. So this is continuation of the service video. Thank you. Everybody's more self-conscious because they know they're on YouTube.